It's 3 a.m. at Los Angeles International Airport, dead quiet, except for the hum of rolling suitcases and the occasional announcement echoing across the terminal. And there he is, Prince Harry. The man who gave up the crown for love, now moving through the airport like a shadow. A baseball cap pulled low over his tired eyes, a small carry-on bag in hand, no royal entourage, no Meghan, no kids, nothing. Just a man who looks like he's running from his own life. Witnesses say Harry looked haunted, pale, anxious, his hands trembling as he handed over his passport. One worker even whispered that he kept glancing over his shoulder every few seconds, as if he was expecting someone or something to come after him. His eyes? Red. His jaw? Clenched so tight, you could practically see the tension from across the terminal. This wasn't a royal trip. It wasn't planned. This was an escape. But what could possibly make Prince Harry abandon everything he's built in? California, the mansion, the deals, the new life, and rush back to the very country he swore he'd never call home again? Well, hours before his midnight flight, British author Tom Bower went on live television and dropped a bombshell that's now tearing through both sides of the Atlantic. And this time, Bower didn't come with whispers or speculation. He came with proof. Not documents, not gossip, audio tapes. Yes, secret recordings that he claims capture Meghan Markle's own voice talking about her hidden past. And when Harry heard what was on them, something inside him shattered. Because let's be honest, it's one thing to hear rumors about your wife, but it's another thing entirely when someone plays you her actual voice, admitting to things she swore never happened. Tom Bower isn't just some tabloid writer throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. He's the guy who's made billionaires sweat, who's brought down politicians using nothing but evidence. His past books made palace officials lose sleep. So, when he says he has recordings, people listen. And during that late-night interview, Bower sat there calm, precise, confident. The host pushed for details, and Bower gave them one by one with the assurance of a man holding dynamite. He said the recordings spanned several years from the late 1990 seconds into the early 2000s, long before Meghan ever met Harry, long before she was a household name. They allegedly capture phone conversations between Meghan and members of the Giuliano family, the same name that's been circling in whispers for years. Conversations about arrangements made, promises kept, and even talk of a daughter, a truth Meghan supposedly spent decades burying. And according to Bower, one of the tapes has Meghan's voice calmly discussing how to keep certain visits quiet. Another, she's reportedly heard referring to our agreement about her, not the situation, not a child, but of her a specific person. Legal experts who've heard Bower's description say if these tapes are real, there's no spinning this one away. Voice analysis tech today is just too advanced. If those recordings are verified, and if the timestamps match what the old photos already hinted at, then Meghan's carefully crafted story, her image, her interviews, her entire narrative collapses in real time. And that, insiders say, is what sent Harry spiraling. Because when he found out those tapes existed, he reportedly begged to hear them before they went public. And after he did, he booked the first flight out of California. The name Joe Giuliano started ringing in Harry's ears like an old ghost, a man who had faded into oblivion for 3 decades, only to return in the worst way imaginable. According to sources who claim to know what's on the tapes, they aren't heated fights or emotional breakdowns. They're worse. They're calm, casual, matter-of-fact conversations between people who shared a massive secret and agreed to keep it buried forever. In one particular recording Bower described in detail, you can allegedly hear Meghan arranging private visits with someone from the Giuliano family, moments that couldn't be photographed, places that couldn't be seen, a life that had to exist in the shadows. These conversations, if real, happened during the years Meghan was building her acting career, crafting that image of a strong, independent woman with a spotless background. But behind the scenes, if Bower's telling the truth, she was juggling a secret that could destroy everything she built, a daughter she allegedly denied existed. Now, what makes these tapes so devastating isn't just what they reveal about the past, it's what they expose about the present. Because if Meghan was indeed part of this arrangement, then every interview where she cried about wanting to be a mother, every sit-down where she talked about finally having a family, suddenly looks like a performance. And for Harry, that's the ultimate heartbreak. Because his whole post-royal life, every decision to walk away, to defend her, to stand by her, was built on the belief that she was real. That she was the one person who understood what it felt like to be attacked unfairly. But what happens when the person you gave up everything for turns out to be the one who wasn't telling the truth? People close to Harry say he's been blindsided before, but never like this. When those mysterious photos first surfaced months ago, Harry reportedly laughed them off, calling them doctored, calling them another smear campaign. But sound is different. You can fake a picture. You can't fake a voice, not one that matches perfectly with your wife's tone, pitch, and rhythm. And when Harry finally listened to what Tom Bauer had, witnesses say it broke him. He sat in silence for nearly an hour. No shouting, no tears, just staring into space. It was her exact voice, her exact words, saying things that directly contradicted everything she'd ever told him. And that's when reality hit. The betrayal wasn't just about her past, it was about their entire life together. Every truth she told him, every emotional confession, every tearful story, all of it now had a question mark. Friends say he didn't confront her, he didn't yell, he didn't demand answers. He just packed a bag quietly while she was sleeping and walked out. Because when you don't even know who your partner really is anymore, what's left to say? By dawn, the entire royal system had been alerted. A British Airways flight carrying Prince Harry had just landed at Heathrow unannounced, unscheduled. The man looked hollow, exhausted, and lost. King Charles was reportedly informed before Harry's plane even touched down, and what happened next shocked everyone, even palace insiders. There was no icy silence this time, no protocol barriers. Charles ordered immediate private protection for his son, not at Kensington, not at Clarence House. At Balmoral, far away from the cameras, far away from the chaos. This wasn't a reunion, this was a rescue. Charles, after all, knows what it's like to live through public humiliation, to have your private pain turned into national spectacle. And according to royal sources, the moment he found out why Harry had come back, the years of disappointment vanished. He just wanted to protect his son. But not everyone in the family felt the same. Prince William, reportedly furious, demanded answers. He's said to be livid that Harry's actions, or rather Meghan's secrets, could drag the monarchy into another worldwide scandal. But even William had to admit, this time Harry's not the villain. He's the victim. Meanwhile, royal lawyers have already sprung into action, but not for Meghan. They're trying to protect the institution, the monarchy itself, from whatever explosion might come next. Because if those tapes go public, this isn't just a scandal about Meghan Markle. It's a threat to the credibility of the royal family, to everything they've tried to preserve since Harry's departure. Behind Balmoral's stone walls, meetings are happening day and night. Charles and his advisors are reportedly helping Harry prepare for the storm emotionally, legally, and publicly. And for the first time in years, he's actually listening. Because he finally understands what his family had tried to tell him from the start. Sometimes, the person you love most is the one wearing the best mask. Back in California, Meghan's world was burning. The moment Tom Bauer's claims hit the airwaves, her legal team exploded into motion. Within hours, cease and desist letters were flying to every newsroom in London, New York, and LA, warning of lawsuits if anyone dared to air or publish even a second of those. Alleged recordings. Her lawyers argued the tapes were illegally obtained, that they violated privacy laws in several countries, that broadcasting them would be criminal. It was the same playbook she'd used before: aggressive, intimidating, efficient. But this time, the storm was too big to contain, because Tom Bauer didn't flinch. He released a statement the next morning saying every recording was obtained legally, that his sources were people involved in the original conversations, and that each clip had been authenticated by independent forensic experts. He said, almost smugly, "If Meghan wants to sue me, let her. I'd love to do discovery." That single line sent shivers through Hollywood. Because discovery means depositions, evidence, cross-examinations, everything Meghan wanted to keep buried, suddenly laid bare for the world to see. Legal analysts started calling it the showdown of the decade. On one side, a duchess fighting to protect her privacy. On the other, a journalist claiming a moral duty to reveal the truth. And somewhere in the middle of this legal war was Harry, hiding out in Scotland, staring at the endless gray sky above Balmoral. He wasn't reading headlines or watching interviews. He couldn't. Every ping on his phone felt like a knife. He'd traded his royal life for love, and now that love was unraveling in front of millions. Insiders say Charles has been surprisingly gentle, checking in on him daily, insisting on privacy, even inviting him to long walks on the estate grounds. For once, there were no lectures, no "I told you so," just quiet support from a father who knew that heartbreak is heavier than any crown. But William? His reaction was colder. Friends claim he's furious that Meghan's actions might once again smear the family's reputation. He's pushing for firm boundaries, no statements, no appearances, no leaks. Protect the crown, he reportedly told aides. Harry can decide later what kind of scission brother he wants to be. Meanwhile, the palace's legal division was dissecting every second of Bauer's interview. They weren't trying to save Meghan, they were trying to shield the monarchy from fallout. Because if those tapes linked her to hidden deals or a secret child, the press wouldn't stop at her name. They'd come for them all. And speaking of the child, yes, the woman in those photos, she suddenly became the center of the world's obsession. Reporters tracked her across 3 continents. Cameras camped outside her job, her home, her friends' apartments, but she didn't speak, not a single word. People close to her say she's known the truth for years, that she learned who her mother was as a teenager. They say she's not angry, just exhausted. Exhausted from living as a secret. Exhausted from watching strangers argue about her existence. Some insiders claim she's considering breaking her silence, not for revenge or fame, but because she deserves to exist as herself, publicly and freely. Others insist she wants nothing to do with any of it. She's built a quiet, stable life, and talking would destroy that peace. But everyone agrees on one thing: her silence can't last forever. The story's too big now, her face too recognizable. Sooner or later, she'll have to decide speak her truth or let others define it for her. And when she does, that will be the end of Meghan Markle as the world knows her. Right now, Harry remains in Scotland, isolated, broken, and unsure if there's any road back. Meghan's holed up in California, surrounded by lawyers, crafting her next move. Tom Bauer sits on his recordings like live grenades, waiting for the perfect moment to detonate them. Everyone's playing the waiting game, but one thing's certain: the fairy tale is over. The palace walls can't block out the truth forever, and the California dream they built has turned into a nightmare. Because in the end, no matter how famous, powerful, or careful you are, the truth always finds its way out. It waits, it watches, and when it finally speaks, it doesn't whisper, it roars. So when those tapes drop, and they will, whose side will you be on? Drop your thoughts below, and make sure to hit that subscribe button, because this story is far from over.